Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Hopefully it's not too shaky. Today, as you guys can see from the title, is going to be a rant, my Mother's Day rant. Yesterday started off already kind of like a kind of day. My husband got stuck working a split shift, so he worked from 7 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, and then he worked from 6 to 11. So I was already upset about that because usually for Mother's Day we get together, we go out to dinner, or we have like a barbecue or something. We usually do something for Mother's Day, especially for my grandma. So we ended up going, we ended up deciding to go eat at Toledo's, this Mexican restaurant in Fresno, where they were going to have mariachis supposedly at 6:30 or 5, or I don't know what time they said they were going to have them. I think it was like at 6 actually. So we decided to meet up at 4:30 because I knew most of us were going to get there around 5, so I was like, okay, 4:30 is fine. Prior to the Sunday, I think we called and they were like, they weren't going to do reservations on Mother's Day because it gets so busy and so hectic. So it's first come, first serve. We're like, okay, fine. That's fine. We'll just get there early and, get our table, whatever. So we get there Sunday and, they sit us down or whatever. And we tell them about how many people it's going to be. And we let them know that it might be more. And little by little, my family starts getting there. So it was okay at first. It was kind of like a different part of the restaurant. Like it was an extended part. So it wasn't like too like glamorous. It was just kind of like a room pretty much. So we get there, we sit down, and we're just like all talking and conversating because I don't see my cousins too often. So we're just kind of like catching up and, just chit-chatting, and it was fine. After about 30 minutes of sitting there, they finally come and ask us. So at first I didn't mind because we were talking the whole time, so like I didn't really pay too much attention to the fact that she didn't come till like hella late to get us anything to drink or whatever, just because we were so caught up in talking. So about 30 minutes later, she comes by and she's like, do you guys want anything to drink? Do you want me to start taking orders? And we're like, well, we're still waiting for my grandma to get there. And because my aunt had gotten lost. So we're like, we're still waiting for her to get here. So if you can just get the waters for the table. At this point, like, she was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. So we're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And the water gets there about 30 minutes later. So I'm already starting to get irritated. At this point, I'm starting to get irritated because now we have been at the restaurant for an hour and we still hadn't gotten no drinks, no nothing. And I was annoyed. So I'm one of those people who I guess you can say can be kind of bitchy because I do not like bad service. I'm not a fan of like, do not play when it comes to my food. Do not take forever when it comes to my food, especially if I'm hungry, especially if my husband has to leave for work. Like, I don't play that. I was, like, already starting to get irritated. So, my husband had to leave at 5:30. So, at this point, by the time he had to leave, they had just brought the water not too long before that. So, I was just like, my husband's just like, don't even order me anything because it's not going to get here on time. I'm just going to go and stop by and get something to eat on the way to work. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I didn't even worry about that too much. So now my whole family was there and we were waiting to get our orders taken. When my cousin called or whatever and asked about the reservations, she also asked about like the bills and if they split it, if we would be able to split it once we got there, like everybody order separately and everybody get separate bills. And once we got there, the lady was, my cousin, she's like, well, it's going to be separate orders. And the lady's like, well, just so you know, they're going to be adding a 15% charge on every single bill, even though it's 15, even though it's split. So my cousin was annoyed, and I was too, because I didn't think it was fair to go ahead and just mandatorily add. Like, I'm all for giving waitresses tips and giving them tips that they deserve. I do not like bad service and being forced to give somebody a tip. That I do not do. So, I was like, okay, whatever. After talking to my family, we're like, well, we'll just get everything on one bill and then everybody will just pay cash. And we're like, okay, yeah, that'll work. So we start taking orders, and she tells us she cannot split the bill until she gets up to the register. And I was like, okay, whatever. That's fine. We won't do that. Everybody just get what they got and we'll go about it that way. So now we started ordering probably around like 5:45. I would say, excuse me, my voice is always disappearing on me. We started ordering around 5:45, I would say, maybe 6 o'clock, till they got every single body in our table set, ordered. And mind you, we did have a huge party. We had about 30 people, more or less, and just in our party. So we had one waitress, and what annoyed me, and I know it probably wasn't her fault too much, but like her manager should have seen that, she has this huge ass party, like get her some help. Like, what are you doing? Just like not. And they had like these people that were just, I guess, like the bussers or whatever, the ones that were cleaning the tables. And those guys were just standing around doing nothing because there was no tables to clean. And she was just running back and forth, and it was a mess. Okay, so after she ordered our food and put it in, it was about, I would say, like an hour now, and we still hadn't received our food. So we started asking, when is our food coming? She's like, oh yeah, it'll be right out. So she goes in, and I mean, I understand it's Mother's Day, it's busy, whatever. So now my aunt, my cousin, like we start getting the plates out after about an hour. And little by little, everybody starts getting their food. I still hadn't received my food. I didn't get my food till about like an hour and a half later. That's how long it took me to get my food. And then I was like the last person to order. So it took like about an hour and a half to get my food. But some of the people that had ordered before me still hadn't received their food. My cousin and her husband, 2 little boys, they had ordered like burger and fries and like chicken fingers and fries. And once they never received their food. They received their food like literally 30 minutes before we left. And mind you, we got there at 4:30 and we didn't leave till like 8 o'clock. So what's that? Like 3 hours being there, and they still hadn't received their food. So my cousin ended up giving her food to one of the little boys, to one of her sons, and her husband gave his food to one of her sons. So she was already upset. She was like, and then she would ask them what time, or like, is the food almost out? And the waitress would be really, really rude. She'd be like, well, you see, you got to understand there's a lot of people here, and you got to understand that there's more people, and they got to make fresh fries, and they got to do this, they got to do that. And it's like, it's not really about waiting, because I mean, we understand that it's busy and that, we would have waited, but the way she went about it and the way she talked to my cousin, it was just really rude. And so my cousin was like, yes, I understand. My cousin was getting upset and I was getting mad. So I was like, this is crazy. So not only did the kids not receive their food, but till hella late, but the food comes with like tortillas, or you get a salad on the side, or all this stuff. I got my food, then I got my tortillas, and then I got my salad. So it was just all out of order. I kept asking her, like, where's my salad? Where's this? Where's that? And then she's like, oh yeah, I'll be right back. And she'd take off and she wouldn't come back. And then it's like, so she's out there serving our whole table. It's 30 of us or more. And it's just one person trying to, run the whole table and, waitress for all of us and do things for all of us. We didn't get tortillas. We didn't get the tostadas. They never came. The kids never got their drinks. The whole time we were there till the very end, nobody ever gave them their drinks. What else? The food, like, my cousin ordered, I believe she ordered like a carne asada burrito with rice and beans, and they brought her son a bean and cheese burrito, and my cousin's like, that's not what I ordered. And the waitress would try to give her an attitude. No, that's what you ordered. And we're like all sitting there like looking at her like, no, we were sitting here like listening. That's not what she ordered. And it was just a bad experience. So now we had probably been there for 2 hours, barely getting our food. Most people, you know, everybody ate at a different time. The kids barely had gotten their food. It was a mess. It was a disaster. And then we would ask questions and she would just be rude about it. That lady just wasn't doing her job, period. Like, it was a mess. And then she almost spilled the beer all over the table. And she goes and she places my cousin's husband's beer on the table, and she placed it on like a little crack or whatever. And when she placed the beer down, the beer like tumbled sideways. And if my cousin wouldn't have caught it, it would have fell. But she didn't even like, oh, I'm so sorry, or, you know, apologize for it. She just kind of like turned around and walked away. And I'm like, this heifer, like, seriously? So now I'm upset because kids haven't received their food. For one, you know, the food wasn't that great to begin with. My cousins were complaining about there was hair in their food. My other cousin had what did she have? She had like stuff floating in her cup. And again, I understand it's busy, it's Mother's Day, but if you know it's going to be a busy day, why in the hell don't you have more waitresses? Why don't you have more people to be able to cover all these tables? This girl literally, I don't know if just people didn't want to help her or she was just trying to keep that tip, because I'm telling you, we spent almost like $500, $600 in between all of us to eat there. So, it was annoying. It was really, really annoying. So after finally everybody got their food, everybody ate. I didn't really care for my salad. I was like, I don't even want that. I was mad already. I was like, I'm not even hungry anymore. Like, I'm over this. My cousin ended up getting sick off the, I think she ordered like ceviche or something, and she was already feeling sick. So it was a mess. And my cousin, she was turned up, like she was pissed. Food, like some people didn't even get what they ordered. It was horrible service. So now everybody's getting ready to go. The mariachi got there hella late, and they played like 2 songs and they left. So I was already annoyed, and I was like, I'm ready to go. So I kept telling her, like, at this point now that we're all leaving, instead of bringing us the bill, and we kept asking for the bill for like 20-30 minutes. Can you bring us, can you bring us a check? Can you bring us a check? Can you bring us a check? And she would not bring us a check. So I was like, man, this shit must be free, because I'm about to go if she's not bringing me my check. Like, I was irritated. And so she finally goes around and she's like, now she's separating everybody's freaking tail at the table. And I'm like, so you just told us you couldn't do that shit, and now you're doing it. And it took literally like 30 minutes to get everybody's tail like separated. And I was like over it, honestly. I was so annoyed. And so I went ahead and, what did we do? Oh, everybody was walking out, and we were all walking to the register because we were gonna pay. I ended up paying $18 for one person. I didn't even get a freaking drink. Not even a drink. But with the 15% gratuity that I honestly feel she did not deserve. She was just a really, really rude person. She did not deserve that tip. And so I was pissed. I was just like, I was ready to go. And then she kind of like, she gave me a bill first, and it was like $80 on that bill. And I was like, no, excuse me, this is not mine. That's not what I ordered. So she went and she fixed it. And she had like an attitude when she fixed it. And I was just like, she finally, okay, so she printed out my receipt, not my receipt, but my bill. And then she handed it, she like handed, like, kind of like threw it at me, and she was like, here, that's yours. And I was like, okay. So I snatched that shit from her, and then I looked at it, and I was like, okay, that's mine. So I put it back down, and I took my money out, and I was like, can you just charge me now so I can get the hell out of here? I go, and then she was like, okay. Like, because I was getting annoyed because she kept, like, running around me. Like, I was standing at the freaking register waiting for her to ring me up, and she was just kind of like walking away and trying to talk to other people, and that's when I got mad. So I was like, just, you know, ring me up so I can get the hell out of here. And so I gave her my money, and she like rang me up or whatever, and I was annoyed. I was super annoyed. So my mom was like trying to calm me down, and I was like, no, I'm leaving. Like, I'm leaving now. And then I was like, I'm waiting for you outside. And I'm like, because if not, I'm gonna cuss this lady out. I'm not even playing no more. See, I'm very, very, very like outspoken when it comes to service. I don't like people taking it, and I feel like a lot of the times people do take advantage of you, especially if you're just quiet and you just kind of accept and roll over and let them do whatever the hell they want to do. I'm like, no, I don't care if you're busy, you know, your job. And if you can't do your job, then you need to talk to your boss to tell him that you need more people, which honestly, I feel like she did. She needed way more servers for our table. We needed way more. What the hell is that? She needed way more help, especially for 30 fucking people. Like, that's ridiculous. So I was already pissed. We ended up leaving, and there was still a big ass line inside of waiting, and she like totally messed everything up. And then for my aunt, where her kids are the ones that had, like, one didn't receive their food till like an hour later, one had the hair in the burrito, the other one had like shit floating in their cup, and they didn't even want to, like, you know, oh, I'm so sorry, let me go ahead and take that off. Like, and my aunt, so my aunt told them, they're like, oh, well, there was a hair in the burrito. And then the lady's like, well, we brought him another burrito. And my aunt's like, well, he didn't even eat the burrito because he was already grossed out. And then they're like, well, he ate the rice and the beans. And I was like, oh my God, like, Lord Jesus, get me the hell out of here, because I'm gonna go off on these people. So I was already annoyed, hella annoyed. I just walked out and I sat there and I was like, oh. And I'm sure you guys are gonna see this in my face when you guys see my my weekly vlog, because I kind of vlogged when I left there, and I was pissed. I'm just reliving everything, and I'm making me mad again. But I'm about to go. This video ended up hella longer than I thought, and sorry for the shakiness. I don't have my my tripods in my husband's car, so I'm kind of holding the phone up with my hand. But anywho, I hope you guys had a great Mother's Day, and your Mother's Day was better than mine. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. And if you guys haven't checked out my my Mother's Day challenge with my mama, go ahead and check that out. She took that shit like a champ. I was not about that life. So, yeah, I will talk to you guys in the next video, and thank you guys for sitting here and listening to me rant this whole time. I know it was longer than I expected it to be, but, shit had to be said. So we'll talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.